Hey everybody, it's time for another pseudo-ish rant video regarding Nintendo third-party stuff, because that's what we do here. Start the video. So, I was recently watching one of the videos from the YouTube channel known as the Nintendo Project, which was pretty much his video talking about how Rock Band wasn't coming to the Wii U. Rock Band 4, I believe. Now, personally, I'm not going to talk about Rock Band specifically because that's not really the point. The point is because you kind of call this a pseudo-response, which is something pretty much what I do now. I just do pseudo-responses. And he went into the tirade that everybody goes into. Nintendo needs more third-party games. And my first reaction is, whoa, here we go again. It's the same shit, and it's always the Nintendo needs to start buying more, needs to start putting some money out there. They have money. They need to start investing that money into third parties and getting more games like Destiny and Bioshock and fucking Call of Duty and Rock Band. And now, and see, this is what pisses me off. This is what aggravates me, because I feel like people don't understand. Like, and look, from a consumer's perspective, I understand anyone bitching about this, because from a consumer perspective, a consumer's perspective, you don't give a fuck about the business side of things. The only thing you care about is if the game that you want to play is on the system. And from that perspective, I have no problem with anyone complaining about not getting certain games. But if you are someone who likes the industry and pays attention to that kind of stuff, and you can look at the bigger picture, then you will realize that it is dumb as fuck to do what people keep suggesting that they do. And what do people keep suggesting that they do? By, like in the Nintendo Project video there, where he was like, you need to pay them to put that game on the Wii U. Oh, I see people wonder why I have a distaste for Microsoft. And I understand Microsoft isn't the first company to do this, but it's the company that really started pushing this whole idea of money hat and everything. It's like, fuck, I need a game. Money hat. Fuck, I need this game. Money hat. I need an exclusive. Money hat, money hat, money hat. And I'm like, listen, guys, this does not end well for many reasons. Let's be perfectly honest here. Nintendo has like no say-so in third-party affairs at all at this point. Unless they're already working with the company for a game and they were like, well, can you do a game for us? Which is pretty much what's happened with Koei Tecmo and what's happened with Bandai. It's like, oh, you were working with us on Smash Brothers. Can you make us like a free-to-play game? Cool, that's awesome. That's how it's been so far. But to money hat this shit is, like, to me, one of the worst ideas to do. See, people keep going, Nintendo has a lot of money. How do you think they maintain that amount of money that they have? By not spending ridiculous amounts of it. Because if you do that, guess what? You don't have a lot of money anymore. Let me explain what I mean. Let's pretend like that they did what people keep suggesting, what the Nintendo Project suggests, what fucking a lot of people have suggested. Review Tech, I know, has suggested. A lot of people have suggested this. Let's say they do this. They just start throwing, every time a third-party game comes out, it's like, can you put this game on our system? Can you put this game on our system? Can you put this game on our systems? Well, this sets a really shitty precedent, because now, since Nintendo already doesn't have any say-so in the space, and developers don't think there's money to be made, that means they now realize that, oh, well, Nintendo's going to pay us to put our game on their console, and we have no guarantee, and we are not required to make the game a certain level of quality. So what's stopping them from making the same half-assed ports that they were making before? And they're also getting money from Nintendo, and they realize that now they can just kind of, they can intentionally not mention the Wii U in terms of the list of game consoles they're putting it out for, because Nintendo's in a situation where they're throwing out money to everybody to get that. And probably most of these games won't sell well for different reasons, and I'll get into that in a second. Well, that's it. Nintendo does this for them, and first off, here's the thing. What people keep saying is, oh, well, you know, that's how you build consumer loyalty, and the sales for the games to pick up. Yeah, but that takes like an entire fucking generation. Considering the first the entirety of the Wii U's life cycle so far has been nothing but negative news, half-ass ports, and just a whole bunch of just dogging the system out. Do you really think anyone's gonna have any confidence if a whole bunch of third-party games show up for like a year? No. Why? Because you had 2 or 3 years previous to that doing the exact opposite. You have to build brand loyalty over a fucking generation at least to have a consistent fan base. Also, half of the franchises people keep asking to be put on the system are franchises that already have brand loyalty. See, to me, if they're going to do that, I'd rather they do that with new IPs, if anything. I wouldn't worry about any pre-existing shit. People go, well, why not? Because the only 2 ways you're going to make someone switch a console for the same game is if your console has a gimmick or something about it that makes it more appealing. Because Nintendo isn't winning any points in terms of graphics or anything like that. The only way you would sell somebody to switch from Call of Duty on the PS4 and Xbox One to the Wii U, or shit, even the PS3 or 360 to the Wii U, is if that fucking gamepad had mass appeal. And guess the fuck what? The gamepad doesn't have mass fucking appeal. So guess what? If you've been playing Call of Duty or Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation, on the PlayStation brand, what the fuck makes you think that those people are going to suddenly switch to the Wii U? There has to be a hell of a reason. There's a reason why the PS4 outsold the Xbox One like to a disgusting amount. And you wanna know why? It's because the PS4 version of games offered something more. In that case, it was graphics. But Nintendo can't offer anything but a unique control scheme, which we've been hearing from a lot of modern gamers they don't give a fuck about anyway. So what the fuck do they look like spending all that money for games that won't sell that well because most of the fans of that game franchise is already tied to a brand, because most of the brands that are having sequels nowadays have been tied to a company since the fucking PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, or fucking N64, PlayStation 1 era. What the fuck do you look like? It's like, oh, and that's my whole thing with Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts Metal Gear Solid is not going to sell better on the Xbox One. It's probably going to sell worse. Why? Well, first off, Xbox has always had a limited fan base in terms of what genres those dudes play. Like, RPGs always sold better on the PlayStation brand because RPGs are better known on the PlayStation brand. There aren't that many RPG gamers who only own a 360. Most of those people own a PlayStation console at some point. The only reason why you would make them switch brands is if they got the game earlier or they were getting the game for a while earlier, like with the Tomb Raider situation. But if you start money-hatting everything, you're spending all this money, not getting anything back, and then you're still in the same position you were in before, hoping to God, after you've already spent all your money, by the way, hoping to God that they'll fucking just throw you a fucking bone and still put games on your console. And at that point, they have no reason to, because once again, they don't think there's money to be made, and Nintendo isn't paying them anymore. Therefore, there's no fucking reason to put the game on the console. Money-hatting is stupid, especially for Nintendo, because they have no ground in that market, and there's no reason to try to build fan bases for franchises that pre-exist. Now, for something like maybe Evolve or something like Destiny, that would have been a relatively good idea because that IP hasn't been tied to a specific, console yet because it's a new IP. But at the same time, when you look, and especially in recent years, people are like, oh, we need third-party games on the Wii U. Have you been seeing the general reactions to most third-party games that have been coming out recently? No one gives a shit about those games. And if they do give a shit, the game is usually a disappointment on some level. That's how almost a lot of the third-party games have been for like the last year going into 2 years. At a certain point, I don't feel like I'm missing much. And I'll realistically say this. If I had to choose between spending money on my console and on a fucking gamble, which is all third-party is, in my opinion, for Nintendo, is a fucking gamble. It's a hope that even though there's no way in hell, unless the game is optimized for the Wii U, even then, you gotta have some really appealing shit on that gamepad to sell somebody from another fucking brand to Nintendo for a third-party game. And just like as I said, Microsoft would have to win my trust in terms of keeping exclusives for an entire generation. Nintendo third-party games would have to keep my trust by Nintendo consistently getting third-party games for a full generation. Most people aren't gonna switch brands. And that's my thing. And then, as I said, developers don't have a reason to give a fuck because they don't feel like there's money to be made anyway. So they're not losing anything. To them, they're not losing anything. I'm so fucking tired of the money hatting. Why is that our fucking safe zone? And what's funny as fuck to me is people will bitch when it's exclusive shit, but it's okay for Nintendo to money hat as long as they're just getting the game ported to their system. So I can money hat to get the game ported to my system. I just can't money hat to get exclusives, which I would think exclusives are more important. And as I said, from a consumer's point of view, you wouldn't give a fuck about any of those things. You would just give a fuck about why isn't Rock Band, why isn't Destiny, why isn't Titanfall, why isn't why isn't Evolve, why isn't any of these third-party games on the Wii U? As a consumer, if you're bitching about it, you're not worried about the whole industry side of things, it's fine. But when you fucking start talking about this shit, talking about, I don't care what you have to do, Nintendo, get the fucking game on your console. Especially when almost all the games people are talking about are the ones that suck ass right now, or the ones who are major disappointments, and you want them to spend money to get those games on your console. Why would you do that? like in all honesty, why would you spend that kind of money for something that has very little profit into it? And why would you gamble on developers that have been known to fuck you over already? We've already seen it. They have fucked Nintendo. Some of these developers have already fucked Nintendo over. Why would I try to buy them back to us, knowing that we can't consistently do that and build a relationship on the fact that I have to pay you extra money to get the same damn game other people just get because they're a game company? I don't understand that shit. Why is Nintendo has to, and that's what I understand. How the hell is that fair? That Nintendo has to pay to get the game on their console, but everyone else is fine. And as I said, I think that's something Microsoft kind of spearheaded back in the 360 generation, was the fucking, let's pay for our fucking exclusives. And we see how well that turned out, which is why I have no faith in Microsoft exclusives, because Microsoft exclusives don't stay exclusive. We've already seen that a lot in the Xbox One's life cycle, and the Xbox One is what, only a year going into 2 years old? Guys, do you not see the problem here? It's consistency is a bitch. So Nintendo Project, I get it. From a consumer standpoint, you want your favorite company to do well with their console, but making them lose money on a bullshit ass gamble is not the way to do it. That's just personally my opinion. But I'm curious, do people think that Nintendo really needs to start money hatting everybody for no goddamn reason? Especially when you're banking on something that has been known to let them down already? I would just worry about cultivating indies into my new third party. I want a new third party team to be made of indies, and I want Shantae. I swear to God, I want Shantae to be upgraded to that that second tier Nintendo status, because she's been chilling in that third and fourth tier for too damn long since the Game Boy. She needs to get up there. Shovel Knight, I'd be like, Nintendo, acquire Shovel Knight, acquire Shantae, get these motherfucking indies. Fuck the rest of them, because the indies are the ones that are going to be taking over half of these companies when they die. Fuck the rest of this shit. It's not even worth it in my opinion. If you want to throw money at something, throw money back into the console features like voice chat and shit, or throw it into the next console, or definitely throw it into the fucking indies. Fuck third party. That's my opinion though. Leave yours in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game, play to win. I'll catch you guys later. Peace off.